Hello everyone, I am Preeti, working as an assistant professor in RPIIT Technical and Medical Campus Bastara, Karnal. Today we will discuss about transport of material across the cell. So first start with definition. Motion of substances in and out of the cell. Cell membrane are selectively permeable. Two types of transport mechanism. First is passive transport mechanism. Second is active transport mechanism. First is passive transport. Passive transport is movement of molecules through the membrane in which no energy is required from the cell. Second is active transport. Active transport required energy expenditure by the cell. Passive transport is the movement of molecule through the membrane in which no energy is required from the cell. Molecules move in response to a concentration gradient. A concentration gradient is a difference between the concentration on one side of the membrane and that on the other side. Passive transport mechanism only movement substances along the concentration gradient. Substances move from one area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. Mechanism of passive transport. First is diffusion. Movement of solute molecule from high solute concentration to low solute concentration. Diffusion. Diffusion is a movement of solute molecule from high concentration to low concentration. Diffusion. There are two types of diffusion. First is simple diffusion and second is facilitated diffusion. Simple diffusion. Substances pass directly through the cell membrane. The cell membrane has limited permeability to small polar molecules, water and ions. The motion of water across the membrane is known as osmosis. The rate of simple diffusion depends on the degree of concentration gradient. As the gradient reaches equilibrium, diffusion slow. At equilibrium, substances pass in and out of the membrane at equal rates. Facilitated diffusion. Substances must pass through transported protein to get through the cell membrane. The cell membrane is selectively permeable. Carrier protein bind to the molecule that they transport across the membrane. Selectively permeability. Integral membrane protein allow the cell to be selective about what passes through the membrane. Channel protein have a polar interior allowing polar molecule to pass through. Carrier proteins. Carrier proteins bind to a specific molecule to facilitate its passage. Osmosis. Osmotic concentration is determined by the concentration of all solute in solution. Second is active transport. Active transport require energy. ATP is used directly or indirectly to fuel active transport, able to move substances against a concentration gradient from low to high concentration, allow cells to store concentrated substances. Bulk transport. Bulk transport of substances is accomplished by endocytosis or exocytosis. Endocytosis is movement of substances into the cell and movement of material out of the cell. Bulk transport. Endocytosis occur when the plasma membrane envelope food particles and liquid. Phagocytosis and pinocytosis. Phagocytosis is the cell take in particular matter. Pinocytosis, the cell take in only fluid. Receptor mediated endocytosis, specific molecules are taken in after they bind to a receptor.